This is when everything changed for the Milwaukee Brewers. If they just dropped the series to the San Francisco Giants with a few bad plays in today's game, we're going to be breaking it down, going over the real point at this game where we saw a major change, as well as multiple updates here at the end of this video in a very special game for this Milwaukee Brewers team. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be breaking it all down here on the channel. Before we do jump into this video, though, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We got a lot of Brewers news coming as we get down to the final two series of what is a very busy month, and you will not want to miss for the remainder of the series and the season what we're going to have to bring you. We also know just over 98% of you guys watching right now have not hit the button already, but let's get straight into this. And I first want to touch on the game itself, and we're going to jump into what I was talking about in a little bit ago in a moment here regarding where this game really changed and went on its head, making the Brewers unfortunately lose this game, ultimately losing the series, but heading into this game, a 4-3 loss against the Giants on a very special day, the celebration of life of Bob Uecker, and we're going to jump a little bit into that here in a moment as well, but obviously a very special game heading into this game. You know, everybody on the field, everybody in the stadium, even the Giants knew what this game was really all about, and baseball almost felt secondary today, but yet it is still another game where the Brewers are still getting closer and closer to the Cubs, unfortunately, in this instance. And the Cubs are playing hot right now, and we're going to kind of jump into the schedule here in a moment. But 4-3 for the Giants, who were able to get the win here in the top of the ninth, go out there, get 2 runs after being down 3-2. Trevor McGill getting lost in this game. But overall, this game wasn't all negative for this Brewers team. We're going to jump into kind of going a little bit over where everything kind of stood, where everything was going, and as I mentioned, dropping this series now and having a 4-game series against the Diamondbacks, then 3 against the Blue Jays. Kind of want to point out what this game really means going forward to this team, as well as heading into, a very, very busy September as well. Let's not forget. But going into this game, there was one really big, noticeable thing that I think we all realized that happened at the end of the game that maybe not have been the best decision from Pat Murphy. And this is what Adam McCalvy put on Twitter. The game ended on a strike 3 call on the inside corner against pitch hitter Anthony Siegler, who was batting left-handed against Giants righty Ryan Walker in place of Caleb Durbin, who had doubled and homered earlier in the game. We'll see what Murph has to say about that decision shortly. So we have Pat Murphy's quote here, but this was really the turning point of this game, which could have given the Brewers another chance to actually walk this one off after going down. This decision right here had nothing to do with Trevor McGill, how good Willy Adames was playing, I guess, we could say as well. Another good game for him, but the Giants are a team that are also still fighting, so we kind of knew coming into this game it wasn't going to be an easy fight, and games like this happen. I don't want to be too positive, but I don't want to be too negative either, and having this kind of instance, one game that you kind of take back, think about, and you learn now, rather than learning now come October, late September. So Pat Murphy about this decision had this to say. Siegler had a great at-bat. You look at that at-bat, first pitch is a ball, they called a strike. Umpires are not perfect, but it's clearly a ball. It's ball 4. Siegler's got a knack for getting on base in big situations. Caleb Durbin is not a good matchup for that guy. The weaknesses Durbin has, that's not the best matchup. The few weaknesses Durbin has, that's not the best matchup. Sorry. But going into this, of course, Pat Murphy explained himself well. It is definitely an interesting decision when you're looking at it from a non-advanced analytics point, and I feel like that's what we, as fans, have so much of, is we don't have all these kind of in-depth analytics that Pat Murphy, the rest of this team, will have going on matchups and everything. Looking at it now more and more, baseball is becoming so much of a statistics game, and although, it may look like this was a statistical right move, from the eye at least, didn't seem like the greatest idea, but of course, we did see Caleb Durbin have another great game as well today, and that's one thing I just wanted to point out also going forward. So, a little bit on today's game, of course, heading into this one, we didn't expect kind of a game like this, more so the celebration of life, obviously, was a great thing, and you saw that there at the end of the intro video. Everybody had Uke on the back of their jerseys. His family threw out the first pitch to Robin Yount. It was a very special moment in the ballpark today, and going in as well to this game definitely was a very touching thing to see. And I was just talking about going into the pitching as well. See Chad Patrick come in and pitch a very good game, 7 Ks, 1 home run allowed, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and 5 1/3. Came into this game, with the starter after just being recalled. Very, very good game from him. Mears, Shelby Miller, and Uribe, all as well, throwing the ball very, very well as of late. Trevor McGill, once again, a game that every now and then when you're having a guy as good as Trevor McGill has been, you're going to have a game like this. So there's no blame on him. It's very, very difficult to actually go out and blame someone as good as he has been over the last little while. It happens, but just kind of sucks it was today as well. As I mentioned, the dedication to the life of Bob Uecker, and we dedicate today is a larger-than-life legend, baseball icon, the voice of the Brewers baseball forever, and that's what the Brewers tweeted out. You see the picture there as well, their profile picture on Twitter, the jerseys, You go take a look. If you didn't get to watch the game, I do recommend at least going to watch the beginning before the game even starts. You saw Willie Adames out there being the one in the dugout for this team. You could tell how much it meant, and, tears were being shed. I can say that for sure while watching this game. But you have a few more updates before we do finish the video off. And once again, let me know what you think in the comments below here about this game going into it, as well as now what we have in a very important upcoming series going into it. I have a few moves I want to announce, or not announce, I should say. I have no reason to announce these moves, but from the Brewers a few days ago. Hadn't made a video in a couple days. I do apologize for that. We're getting back on the daily grind once again here, but Chourio Ortiz placed on the 10-day IL with that hamstring, so good things on that. He did not get, as significant as originally thought injury. 10 days on the IL, once again, is a great opportunity to give him the rest that a lot of players are going to be needing going into this postseason. And Chourio Ortiz, who, probably not the best time for him because he's been so hot as of late, but this is something that, it's fine. This is going to be perfectly fine going into these 10 days, and of course, we had to assume it was retroactive until when the injury occurred, so not sure the exact date. Let me know if you do know in the comments below when his return date could be, but they activated Jake Bauers off the 10-day IL as well, and Jackson Chourio being sent to a rehab assignment in Nashville. So we're getting a good few updates there as well, and as this morning, the Brewers optioned Carlos Rodriguez to the Nashville Sound, and the Brewers recalled Chad Patrick, and he, of course, pitched today in a phenomenal game. So getting the arms, once again, spread out for this Brewers team, and I feel like kind of going back to the pitching as well right here, you get to see they're still doing the same thing, where you're pretty much getting an inning maximum from your relievers, and I think that's still a great decision going forward until we see, some need for some players coming in here for maybe a few extra innings. The pitchers are playing well, though. The starters are doing well. Everything is kind of lining up for here, but you're going to have a game. You're going to have a series like this. So going forward, I think the Diamondbacks, we should get a big wins out of this series now coming up against them when we do have, a pretty tough-looking team at this very moment for that Diamondbacks team who traded quite a few players. Now, going to the Blue Jays as well at the end of the end of the month, they're having a pretty slight, not great stretch, so hopefully we can catch them down then as well and get a few wins to separate us from the Chicago Cubs, who are 5 games back at this point. And there's going to be a very important upcoming month once again. I feel like I said the same thing, I did say the same thing heading into August, but now the fact that we're getting closer and closer to the postseason, this is when these games are even, feel like they're meaning more, even though they mean the exact same as they did at the beginning of the season. You're getting these games now where you need to win some of these. You need to win, just about every one of these, and you need to have potentially some of your rivals playing great. If the Cubs come up against the Cardinals again, we need the Cardinals going full force here in these series. So we're going to be keeping you up to date with everything regarding this. We're probably going to do a daily check-in now on the standings as we're getting closer and closer to the postseason. But at this point, that's all I got in the video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well, and let me know what you think about today's game. Obviously, there's a few ups and downs from the play side of things, but once again, this was bigger than baseball today for this Brewers team. It would have been nice to get the win, but it is what it is. We move on until tomorrow. So let me know what you think. But that's all I got. Like I said, if you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out, though. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.